Trena, welcome to the podcast. I cannot wait to talk about all things YouTube. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely. I love talking about it. So
there we go. Okay, so why YouTube? Just like start me off. Like, why did you fall in love with it? Why do you think it's so effective for course creators?
the longevity. So what I really love about YouTube, well, one of the biggest aspects is that obviously it's owned by Google. And so you're kind of hitting two birds with one stone there, the two largest search engines in the world that you can create one piece of content for and show up. And longevity, I mean, I have a video from 2019 that is still getting at least 200 views every single month and is building my email list every day. And I don't have an Instagram piece of content. I mean, Instagram Reels wasn't around in 2019,
right.
Let alone there's no posts from 2019 that anybody's watching. Blogs obviously are a little bit longevity pieces of content, but when you add a YouTube video for it, your SEO skyrockets. So that's really why. I mean, I am a business owner. I am a mom. I wanted to focus on content that wouldn't have me chasing expiring content.
Okay, I love that. And then what about I know one of the objections that come up is like, oh gosh, another platform, Gina. Like I got to conquer YouTube. So what's kind of like the misconception? Like it's going to take me so much time to actually move the needle and things like that. What do you say to people who say that?
Yeah, so because YouTube is looked at as pool content, meaning your potential viewer, your potential client or course sale is going to be pulling your content off of YouTube, meaning they're actively looking for a solution to their pain point when they find a video on YouTube. Whereas, social, we're just pushing boatloads of content on people, and that's why it gets noisy. And what's so great with YouTube is you could literally see results from your very first video as a business owner, because if you're strategic and you're creating the content that your target audience is trying to pull out of YouTube, they find you. We all know video content converts higher than any other piece of content. They get a sense of who you are. They get a sense of your authority. They feel your vibes. And that's going to be a higher conversion rate for you in the back end. And so, I mean, as a business owner, you could literally book a client or have a course sale from the first video that you post on YouTube.
Okay, so there's an art and a science to doing this, right? So if I'm just starting out and I'm trying to grow my channel, what's the best kind of content? Like I was watching your video where you're like, be careful about how-to content, right? So if I'm starting out, what should I be posting? What kind of video content?
Yeah, so when you are getting started out, the first place that you want to start showing up is search traffic, because you should know your target audience. If you've built an entire course for them, you should understand the ins and outs, the pain points, the challenges. And so you want to start creating content that's going to help them solve that problem or give them a light bulb moment on that problem as they're searching it on YouTube. And like you said, it's not 100% how-to content, because what you could do, which I found that was my channel back in 2019, was like 95% of people watching my content were non-subscribers. So they were just eating the free content and piecing out. They didn't have a reason to come back, want to stay, want to get to know me. And so how-to content is what I call discoverable content. Okay. This is meant to show up in search, cast the net out to people and bring them to you. And then your community content is meant to build those relationships and make people care about you. We all know people buy from humans, people buy from personalities, and that community type content is meant to do that. And so when I talk community content, it's basically going a little bit deeper into your story. I don't want to say vlogging, although I will vlog my day once or twice a year to share, but I hate vlogging because it's too much work. I like to just set my stuff up, boom, get my content done. And so other types of content that I played around with community-wise is sharing lessons learned, like really sharing, personal lessons learned in business, mistakes made. At the end of last year, I got inspired. Taylor Swift released her Eras tour, and I tied that in with my business eras. And so I did a 5-video series sharing my 5-year journey as a business owner, linking it to like a certain Taylor Swift era. And so now I have that content on my YouTube channel that I can reference people to. I feature it on my channel page. So again, if they find my discoverable content, they want to learn more about me, check out what more content I have, they can also build a deeper connection with me through that community content that I have created in the past.
So okay, so backing up, so it's the how-to content, right? And this is discoverable. Start with that and providing insight, right? And then is there certain best practices that we should keep in mind when we're creating like that how-to, like length, how many tips to give, things like that?
Yeah, so it needs to be as long as it needs to be.
Yeah.
When I'm creating content, I obviously research the topics that I want to do, and then I will determine what the title of my video is going to be before I come up with anything that I'm going to say in that
you
video.
Think about the thumbnail too, right? You said
the title and the thumbnail, because if people don't click on your video, it doesn't matter how great your content is, it's going nowhere. And if people aren't clicking on that video, it's taking up real estate on YouTube, and YouTube's going to bury it. And so it's important for me to come up with the title and the thumbnail first, and then ensure the content of that video delivers on that title and thumbnail. Because one of the biggest mistakes people make is the title and the thumbnail is the last thing they're thinking about as they're uploading it. And you can't really formulate a sexy or like a curiosity driven title afterwards. It's kind of hard to reverse engineer. And so if you can do that first, then you can really create the content that supports it.
Okay, so then I'm giving the how-to, and then the community, it sounds like more personal content, right? Like more behind the scenes, would you say? Or
more personal, allowing them to connect with your journey, making them care to come back. Like, why would they want to come watch another video from you? Also think about, why do people buy from you? What makes you different in your niche? And so one of the things that I have stood out, and I've really kind of differentiated myself on YouTube as a YouTube educator. First of all, so many of them are men. And they also were teaching YouTubers, like influencers, people how to be famous on YouTube pretty much. So I was different there. I was teaching business owners. I was a female, and I was also a mom. And so I had a whole different perspective for time management and batching and figuring out how to make YouTube possible as a business owner, as a wife, as a mom. And so by just tying some of those stories in and tying in those experiences are kind of those community building where they're like, oh yeah, she gets me. That's who I would want to learn from, because that's kind of where my life is right now.
Okay, I love that. Let's talk about call to actions a little bit. Like, what is really most effective on YouTube? Is it driving them back to your site for your opt-in, or having them sign up for updates for your podcast? Like, what's most effective?
So that's ultimately going to be a you choice because it's your business. But when I'm talking about YouTube, what I am looking at is we have to balance making our business happy with making YouTube happy.
Yeah.
So if the only call to action we're ever doing is to end watch time, session time on YouTube, YouTube's probably not going to like us. And so one thing that we have been doing more this year is I will plan my content out on my video game plan. Then I will go back in about midway in my script and my game plan and figure out, how can I organically tie in an offer, a lead magnet, whatever makes sense for this particular video. And so I batched today. I did 3 videos today. And so when I was looking at it, I know I have this special accelerator program coming up, and it really fit into that content that I was talking about. And so I was going through these 3 different phases. And after phase 1, I kind of talked about, this does get a little bit more detailed, and it's not something I can dig into right now, but it is something we're going to be doing in this upcoming accelerator. And I'm going to be working with those people individually. And then I kind of do that brief little pitch so it doesn't sound salesy. It feels organic into the content. And that will usually be my primary call to action in that midpoint. And then at the end of the video, I have my secondary call to action, which is usually to a video. And it's a specific video based on somebody who's watching video A. What is going to be the next best video for them to watch? It's not just like, watch this next video, but it's very strategic. And if they're watching, how I script my video content. The next video may be, okay, now that you know how to script your videos, watch this next video where I show you what a batching day looks like for me once I've had things scripted and how I implement or how I actually record these. And so that makes sense for the viewer journey. And to YouTube, it's like, wow, if people watch the scripting video, they're likely to click on the second video as well. So they're doubling watch time on YouTube. So let's recommend more of the scripting video because we know it can double the time that people are staying on YouTube. And it may also, get you applications or, course sales, whatever it is you're selling. It's just going to feel right for that content, for that particular viewer and what they're watching and what call to action that you use.
Will you ever use a more promotional call to action, like a harder call to action, maybe in a video that you think they're going to nurture them down the line?
Yeah. So, the
like
videos I did
this video, for example.
Yeah. So the videos I did this week, we're talking in July. I'm promoting an accelerator that's happening in August. And I say August 14th is when we're getting started. But I know that this is something I am ultimately going to evergreen or that I may have a wait list for anyways. So even if they click on it, I can still collect their information or I can still get them into that accelerator, even though it's saying August 14th. It's not like the site is going to disappear. I know as I'm filming that content that I'm going to have a backup plan after August 14th.
Because to your point, you have posts from you have videos from 2019, right?
Yeah.
So people might find you months from now, years from now. So that's another tip, right? Thinking through what's that evergreen because your videos live on with it, right?
Even if we all have 401 pages on our site too. So even if it's like a general page that people are going to go to, I think it's important to, obviously that's a business strategy to keep track of all your opt-ins and all the links and that they're not broken and that they're all going somewhere because people could find an old podcast, people could find an old blog. So it's still something you need to think of too on YouTube. But I have done like real-time promotional videos. And so in May, I believe, I did a sales video for my course and it was a behind the scenes. I walk through, what is included, what it looks like when you enroll, how you get help with it. And I also did a video specifically with client testimonials. And so I interviewed them and that was an actual video on my YouTube channel. And that was one of my weekly videos that week because my whole content for my entire business was focused around that launch.
Okay. I love that. All right. So you mentioned weekly videos. If we're starting out, what's the minimum that you feel like we could post on YouTube to start being consistent?
Yeah. One a week. I think one a week is great. I think it's a good sweet spot for business owners. I mean, if we're wanting to do Instagram, we're doing reels and posts and stories like every day. I'm telling you, you could see results on YouTube with one YouTube video a week.
Oh, I love that. Okay. That's such
and then
great
I
news.
use that. I mean, I repurpose that content, right? I don't obviously it needs to be repurposed for the platform. And so like today was my batching day.
Right.
I sat down, I recorded video 1. And then I pulled out my phone and I recorded 5 reels, pulling out different pieces of content from that video. Now, it's not going to be just my YouTube video cut up. It's actually original content in vertical format, but it's using the script that I created so that I can make content for reels or TikTok or shorts as well. And then we obviously use that as our weekly newsletter so that we're constantly being in contact with our list. We also turn it into a blog post too, but it always starts with YouTube because I know YouTube is going to live the longest.
Okay, I love that. So you are recording special reels, but you've already got the content, you've already got the script, and you do it in the moment. Okay, I love that. Okay, how fancy do we need to be? Right. So in terms of background and like, I'm a fan of lighting, having decent audio, but what do you think? Like how fancy?
I don't like fancy because the more fancy, the more reasons you have to not do it. In fact, I'm going to shift to the side, like a fancy camera right there.
Yeah,
I'm
see
pointing to,
yeah,
it's like a Canon M50 or something. I spent hundreds of dollars on it, hundreds of dollars on the lens. And it just frustrated the crap out of me. When I would try to record, I had to get it centered right and focused right. And it just slowed down my process and made me hate recording. So I now just have a point and shoot camera. It says Sony ZV-1. I put it on a tripod that my webcam is on right now. that allows me to move it while I'm doing content. And so like in this recording, I'll pick up my tripod and I'll just move it this way and I get a different angle, and then I'll move it this way. And so it looks like it's different angles, but all I'm doing is moving my tripod. I have a ring light that I use all the time for like
your light.
Zoom.
You have beautiful natural light. It looks like if you're listening to this on YouTube,
I have a window over here on my left side. So I do then have a light source on the right side to balance that out. Otherwise it'd look really dark on one side. That's it. I have a ring light and a softbox. I have my camera on a desk tripod, and that is it. I really keep it simple. I think also with the rise in TikTok, things can be more raw and real. I think your background needs to work within your lifestyle. I don't show people like lunch is still on the floor. You can't see it. You can't see like everything I pushed off my desk on the floor. But I know I'm just going to shoot in this little rectangle right here, and that's all that needs to be decent. And so I think sometimes we overthink everything needs to be so professional, but we can thank TikTok for one good thing, that it's more about real and raw than having like a professional setup to make it perform well.
Okay, I love it. So doesn't need to be fancy, raw, authentic. What are
people connect with humans, right? Yes. I mean, we have AI, we have ChatGPT. We want humans. We want to connect with somebody that's like, oh, like sometimes I will have like a mess in the corner that I won't notice, and they can be like, oh, she's got a mess in the corner of her room like I do.
She's just like us.
Yeah, if I'm doing more of a vlog style, that's one reason I don't do vlog style. I have a 6 and an 8-year-old, and I don't want to have to clean up my office space to record and my entire house. And so when I do record, I just leave it as it is, and people can be like, oh, you have a messy table too. Like your kitchen table is full of Play-Doh and crayons too. And so it just makes you seem more of an actual human that they can connect with.
Yes, I love that. Okay. Other mistakes that you see, especially for beginners. So I think like overestimating what we need equipment wise, right? What are other mistakes that really pop for you?
I think getting so wrapped up in like keywords, keywords have an important part. Absolutely. They have an important part in the research process. So we teach a process called keyword harvesting, where it takes a long time, but you do it once for your channel and it's done. But it gives you a clear idea of what your target audience is searching for, how they're searching for it. And then you use that data to develop videos, because again, we know how smart AI is. The YouTube algorithm is smart. So you can publish a YouTube video and not give it any kind of information, and it's going to know what you're saying. You should still give it information, but YouTube knows when you upload it that what your content's going to be about. And so instead of worrying about shoving as many keywords into the title as possible, think about that title as a headline and how you're going to pique curiosity to get people to click on it. Because if it's just like, how to create a workbook in Canva. That and 2,500 other videos are like that. And so how can you make that video more enticing so that they want to click on yours over all the other ones?
And I think it's about, because I was listening, you talked about this in your last video, right? About benefit driven, like what's the benefit, or how can you niche down so it's really relevant for your office so you can close more sales as a certain kind of course creator, right? So like drilling down on what that benefit is. Yeah,
because I think what is shoved down our throats on YouTube is more views, more subscribers, and that's success. But those people and those educators that are teaching that, they're teaching that for people who are influencers or who want to be YouTubers, and their main revenue stream is AdSense and brand deals. But as course creators, that's your main revenue. And so if you stay niche, talking to that specific audience, and they are finding you in search and they are searching for content specifically for them, and you're speaking to them, they're going to start watching your content. And what the algorithm then does is start putting more of your content in front of them in other places, like the homepage and suggested. And then the next thing that the algorithm does is it starts to understand who those people are, so they can find more of those people on YouTube. So YouTube does all the legwork for you, but you have to clearly understand who you're creating content for, because if you aren't creating content for a clear, specific person, the algorithm isn't going to find them as well. And so you're going to be looking at other metrics like traffic that I'm getting from YouTube. If you have your Google Analytics set up, or you create a separate funnel specifically for YouTube traffic and look at how much traffic is coming. We have our Google Analytics dashboard set up, and we have pretty similar traffic coming from Instagram and YouTube, but our YouTube traffic converts double than what our Instagram traffic does, because if they're finding me on YouTube, they're probably watching at least 20 to 30 minutes of content. And by the time they click over to our sales page, they're like 100%, I want this, right? And so it's kind of a mind warp, because you're watching it and you're like, I need more subscribers, I need more views, but you need the right people watching your videos.
Okay, I love that. So I want to go back for a second when you were talking about the scripting video that then goes into the batching video, right? Are you always thinking about that? Like, okay, what's the next video that you recommend? Or do I need it? Like, how do I nurture them to the next, And you're putting that right, like in suggested videos, like that's part of your process.
Yeah, so even when I'm scripting my videos, if I'm talking about something that I'm not really going into detail about, but I have before, I will say, I've already done a video on that. You can watch it right here, and I'll point to the corner, and you can add a card that people can watch.
Okay.
I go back and forth because sometimes I just have videos that I'm really passionate that I want to create, and so there's no like series. But then and it's the summer, and so I'm just trying to stay up to date with my content.
Yeah.
Whereas in the fall, when we're thinking about launching or we're getting more back into our routine, I will think of a 4 to 6 video series that they all build on each other, almost like a Netflix season, so that people could then binge at any point in time once it's all out, because your playlists can rank in search, can show up in home, can be put in suggested. And so it is also important to do series. And I do, it's just whatever feels good at the moment for me and what I'm most passionate about. I mean, we just did this batch today, but I am already thinking at the end of August, the series that we're going to be doing.
Okay, love that. That's awesome. All right, if I was going to say just the steps to start with, and here's what I came up with, you can tell me if I'm off base or not. So step 1, the keyword harvesting, I think, right? And figuring those out. Step 2, brainstorming your titles, because that will ultimately become your content. Then once you feel good about that, batching your videos, and then releasing them 1 week at a time. I mean, that's overly simplified, but is that kind of near the...
Absolutely. I think obviously if you have a course, you should clearly understand who your audience is. But if you aren't sure, that's going to be, step number 0 is really getting clear on who you're talking to. And I will say, I've wavered back and forth on this because I've struggled with who I really want to talk to. I get into my mind about it. I get imposter syndrome being in a space where a lot of people talk about YouTube growth. And so then I go back and forth. But what I feel really good about right now in my channel and who I'm talking to is course creators, obviously why I'm here, who want to use YouTube as an organic traffic source to book more clients and sell more courses. So while that seems super niche, it also allows you to think about, okay, the person that's most likely to come to my channel for that, what else are they also interested in? And I mean, I'm a mom, but I'm not going to talk about organizing my closet, but I'm going to talk about how I set up my Google Calendar to balance kid activities with being a business owner, with recording YouTube videos. Or I'm going to talk about how I launch my course using YouTube. And so sometimes we think it's so niche that we're going to be bored, but you just want to think about, that's the umbrella topic. And anytime you create a video, will that person be interested in it? Because it could be something totally different. So like I went on vacation. I'm not going to share a vlog about my vacation, but maybe I'll share how I prepared my business for vacation, or what work did I actually do on vacation? And so that goes back to that person. So if you truly, truly understand that person, again, that's just going to help those people find your content, and that's going to help YouTube find more of those people for you.
Okay, what I love about this is like supportive content or tangent, not even, I don't know, do you have a topic for this or like a name for it? Because it doesn't directly lead to the sale, right? So you're not going to necessarily have a course based on this that you're selling into, but it supports your core audience. It's something that they would be interested in, and it keeps them, it's nurture content, right?
Yeah. And I mean, it could still ultimately get people if you talk about it. And so like I talk about, how I schedule. I talk about that in my coaching program, how
there you go.
I give them like a Google Calendar tutorial
Mhm.
and how I do that. And so I think, obviously in my niche, teaching online course creators how to use YouTube, there's a lot of business stuff that they need to know too.
Yes.
And so in my coaching program, I kind of teach, not only how to get started on YouTube, but what that first funnel should look like too. And so again, that allows me to really tie in a lot of my content, but allows YouTube to understand like the bubble I want to be in to make sure the right people are watching that are going to be the hot leads.
Okay. Amazing. Amazing. Oh my gosh. I could ask you so many questions about YouTube, but maybe you can come back. Like maybe
Okay.
we'll ask her some questions and you come back on. And then, okay, plug time. Tell us where to go. You've got some awesome freebies. You've got some courses. Tell us.
Yeah. So I'm not sure when this is coming out, but we're having a workshop series on YouTube. I'm not sure if we'll offer that evergreen, but it's going through July. So if it comes out after July, we are also going to be doing a 6-month YouTube accelerator that I've never done before
Okay.
at the end of August.
Mhm.
And then I do have my first step to getting started on video. It's called Going Video, and it gives you kind of my Asana workflow, my scripting process, and different ways to get leads off of YouTube. And that's at trenalittle.com/going video.
Amazing. Okay, we'll link to that in the show notes. Trena, thank you so much for coming on and dropping the knowledge. Appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.